Hi there, everybody. Martin Cordner here. I hope you're all well, and glad that you are looking at the Music of Martin Cordner Facebook page tonight. I'm really excited to have been able to book, um, can I say, an old friend, Dean? You're a bit younger than me, but definitely somebody who I've worked with and had a lot of collaborations with over the years, Dean Jones. So, hi, Dean. Great to have you. How you doing?
Yeah, well, Martin, thank you. Yeah, very well. You?
Yeah, I'm doing well, mate. Doing
Good,
well, thank
good,
you.
good.
I'm in a lovely lit room, and you're in a dim and dingy place tonight.
I'm
We've
in a
been trying
broom
to work
cupboard.
on the lighting a bit.
Broom cupboard. Yeah, yeah. I would put on my torch on my phone, but I've only got a few percent left, so it's going to go.
Yeah, and you might
Oh,
look even more spooky than you do in Au Naturel. Right. So,
that's it.
Dean, just explain. Dean has come down to a hotel down the road because he can get pretty good Wi-Fi there, and it means his family can have some space to do all that they need to do with a young family that he's got. So even though you're in a dim and dark hotel, Dean, we can just about make you out, and it's great to see you.
You too.
Um, Everybody, I've got some questions for Dean tonight, but one of the really interesting things about these chats, or I hope that you find that they're interesting, is that you can get involved too. Now, you might not be fortunate to have Dean and me in one room at the same time, or did I say fortunate? You might not be unfortunate enough to have
Yeah,
got both of us in one room, but
yeah.
tonight you have. And we're going to talk a little bit about composition. We're going to talk about faith, and we're going to talk about the Salvation Army. And we'd love it if you would all get involved as well. So, Dean, I'm just going to load up the live stream on my computer screen so that I can see people's comments. So let me
Sure.
just, here we go. Oh, a first comment in already, Dean, from Neil Baker to say Dean is looking fabulous.
Thank you, Neil. That's very kind of you.
Okay. And here's Morvin Finch as well. Hello, guys. Hi, Morvin. Great to see you. Glad you're tuning into the live chat. Do leave us some questions in, guys, and we'll try and get to those. So let me start off by doing some introductions. Dean and his wife Emma worship at the Salvation Army at Maidenhead. That's Maidenhead Citadel Corps. They've been there for the last couple of years. And Dean has worked for the Salvation Army's music department since 2001. That's a very long time ago, Dean.
I know.
You must have been about 6
I
when you
was.
started
I
there.
was. Yeah, that was it. You got it.
And have you been with the music department this whole time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Obviously, just the change of 2016 with Fit for Mission taking me away from editorial and into the music and creative arts unit, department, team, whatever we are, as the regional specialist in the Southwest. So yeah, yeah,
Fantastic.
the whole
And this
time.
this southwest area that you're looking after as a regional specialist, does that go right all the way down to the southwest to Cornwall and everything?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's 4 divisions, right down as far as, yeah, absolutely southwest tip of Cornwall.
Wow.
As south then also as the Channel Islands, as west as West Wales, and as north as where, like, around Worcestershire area. Yeah, so and it
That's a big
starts
area.
in, yeah, it is. Yeah, it starts in Swindon on kind of more my kind of line, as it were, out of the M4.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh, it's huge. Yeah, 4 divisions. Yeah, I know it's going to take me a while to get back into the routine of it all, whenever that may be.
I
Hopefully
can imagine you
soon.
see a lot of the inside of a car, really, with your role. But
Yeah.
I imagine it is fulfilling as well, isn't it? Supporting and resourcing Corps.
Oh yeah, no, it's been great. Right up my street, to be honest. Although people would probably think, associate me with writing, and that's really kind, and maybe with Salvation Brass as well. It's lovely, but actually, my heart is really in this kind of work. To be honest, getting alongside people, getting the best out of what they've got, and I've missed that. It's now 6 months since we've been in this situation of kind of just waiting to recommence. So hopefully, it won't be too much longer now. But yeah, we're kind of, if you could pray for me and my colleagues, we're just sort of waiting at the moment. It's a little bit anxious times, if I'm being honest, because obviously everyone knows the government's taken on a new scheme. We're just finishing the old furlough scheme. So it's just all a little bit uncertain, as it were. But we've got loads that we feel we can give. Got loads of ideas about how to. This last few months has taught us all so much, hasn't it? About this kind of thing, gathering online, and we feel we've got loads of ideas to bring to people, and we're brimming with ideas to get back to it. So hopefully we'll get the chance.
Well, let's hope it isn't going to be too long, Dean. What a fantastic blessing it is that we can just link up in this way as well. So just still introducing you, Dean, you in 2008, you started Salvation Brass. Now, for those of you who don't know, Salvation Brass is a 20-piece brass band, and it says on their official website that they're all connected through the Salvation Army, all the members, and their purpose is to enjoy making music and to inspire people in knowing and praising God. Now, Dean, I've been to quite a few Salvation Brass concerts, well, half a dozen or 8 or 9 or something probably.
Yeah.
And it is a different kind of a concert. You're still doing it. What keeps you what keeps you motivated with Salvation Brass?
I think it's really the fact that people still want something from the group and find the type of ministry we have in some way uplifting, helpful, which is great. I would always say that we'll only go to places when people want us while we're wanted. I'm not going to really prolong the agony, as it were, of keeping a group going for no reason. We all love it, obviously, those connected with it. I mean, we have a kind of squad basis, if you like, of about 60 players. There's loads of us that are connected, and it's a great. I'm always interested in things where everyone benefits, and I think with Salvation Brass, I can hand on heart say for the last, what's it been, 12 years now, that everyone's really benefited. I really do feel that. People within the group, people that we visited, and long may it continue. So the motivation just comes naturally, organically from people, really.
Yeah. Well, it is. If you've not seen Salvation Brass, guys, check them out online. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. They bring a party feel, really. That's their style. They'll come to your core, mainly in the UK, although you have been overseas as well, Dean, but you get around core in the UK and you do a weekend for them, won't you? I think that's the...
Yeah, we always try and make friends with the hall cleaner, because we always leave a mess everywhere. So that's a big one.
Okay.
To get your hall cleaner on side, but it's great. You're right. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that what we see is that we've got something to celebrate, and that actually brass banding can cut through all kind of emotions and feelings, and spiritually there's such wonderful connections we can have. But we've tried to take the line quite positively about it being a celebration, but also some of my favorite times with the group are in quiet moments, to be honest. So we're absolutely at home with the whole spectrum, which is great. It's a real blessing.
Yeah, fantastic. We're getting the comments coming thick and fast, so I'm going to get to those in a second, guys, so just bear with us. One story I have, Dean, was when you very kindly invited me to compare a program for Salvation Brass. I did it 2 or 3 times for you, comparing programs, and we were in Norwich at Mile Cross Corps. 2010. And it must have been one of the hottest summers in many years. It was so hot in that hall, and it was agony for a number of reasons. Because of the heat, number one. Number two, because you had brought a vuvuzela with you. And I think you were playing it as well as part of some...
I think David League was the chief principal vuvuzelaist that weekend. But yeah,
and guys, if you don't know what a vuvuzela is, then just thank your lucky stars. But Dean played one that weekend. But also, Dean, we're England fans, and that was the day that England played Germany. It must have been a quarter-final or something. It usually is, and we don't usually beat Germany. And on that day, they beat us 4-1. And do you have memories of that day? Are they fond memories?
Yeah, I do, because what happened was, when there was a moment where the game started to go a bit against England. I think that was the one where Lampard had one, didn't he? That was clearly a goal.
It went over the line.
But it wasn't given.
That's right.
And it was clear that it wasn't going to go England's way. And then word got around, because there was some of the guys had long journeys, and obviously we were watching this, if you remember, behind, recorded basically.
Oh yeah.
So some of there was a couple of wives kind of what do you say, like kind of in cahoots, as it were, and found out what the score was, and very quietly and subtly told one or two husbands.
Yeah.
And there was a little exodus, a trickle of people then deciding to go home on their big journey, because actually there was no point staying, because England once again had failed miserably. But yeah, there we are.
Well, it was agony for that reason. I mean, I've been to a lot of England games. I was there on the Wally with the Brolly evening with Steve McClaren when Croatia beat us. I've been to Wembley a lot of times. It's a big passion of mine. And I was gutted. I mean, it's great that we were sharing worship, but you what you think when you're worshiping and there's a big game going on is, I wonder what the score is and all of that, and you hope that it's a great result. But it was a bad day. It was a bad day.
Then the Saturday night, then I think what we did was, to start the second half of the concert, we all came in football tops, just to actually, and we did a little World Cup medley, and just to be topical, just to show that actually, we're just, because we're Salvationists and we're usually in our lovely pristine uniforms, actually it's okay to just sort of say, actually we're just one of you, and we just want to show that for a minute. And I think to some people it might have scared them silly that we were suddenly in England football shirts, a lot of us, but I think for others it would have been actually like quite hopefully quite fulfilling to see that these are just real people that just not just a band. So
that's right.
Good.
And I think that is one of the strengths of the group, Dean, is that you sort of you meet people where they are, really, rather than play at them. You share with them, which is great. Let's get to a few comments here, Dean. Samuel Shelley, hi Sam, glad you're watching.
Oh yeah.
He says, what's your favourite piece you have ever written, and who is your favourite percussionist? That might be a loaded question.
Yeah, it might be that one.
Obviously, Sam is your favourite percussionist.
Yeah, of course.
What about a favourite? Do you have a favourite of what you've written, Dean?
Not really.
Good question, Sam. Thanks.
It is a good question. No, I don't. Nothing necessarily springs to mind. I think, to be honest, in some ways, it's the last thing, isn't it? I don't know what you think, Martin, but in some ways, it's the last thing you've done.
Yeah, I've heard some people say it's a bit like choosing between your children, you've birthed all of these pieces in some way, haven't you? I guess, if you can use that analogy. I do have one or two that I am fonder of, and sometimes they're the ones that people don't really like. And then I find the ones that I couldn't really care less about, sometimes people really love. That's just the way it goes. But
that I can certainly vouch for that with my dad, who's rather embarrassed that his greatest hit is Walk Tall in the Unity series. And he's like, I've written all these other things of much more magnitude and, put my heart and blood, sweat and tears into, but this was just a bit of fun for kids, and that's the one that sort of has grabbed the attention. But
it is a good piece. But I tell you what else I enjoyed that your dad wrote. I can't remember. It's something like To Worship or something like that. It's called.
Worship. Yeah, just called it Worship.
That's it.
Yeah. That's on our Salvation Bryce's first released album. Yeah, on Delight. Yeah, no, that was a lovely piece. Basically, I said to Dad, look, I think we could do with, and saying we, just the Salvation Army in general, really, looking at it from an editorial point of view, looking at it from I guess someone that was just seeing, compositions coming in and that kind of thing. I think, at that time, what was it, 2002, Dad wrote that. We were moving into more acceptance, as it were, and a neutralizing, I think is probably a word I'd use, of modern worship songs within the brass band idiom. The scripture-based arrangements have been quite popular. So I said to Dad, look, why don't you just try and mold 2 or 3 modern songs into a piece. So that is a lovely piece. There's a few different versions of that piece. One of them we used at the Yorkshire School of Christian Arts, which is where I wrote Glorifico for the following year. Was it the same year? Could have been the same year. And so we had the whole shebang on that. We had it, it was vocalists, and it was a much longer piece. So it was about 6.5 minutes, that one. So the one on the Salvation Brass one is a cut down, slimmed down version
Yeah.
more of a sort of small overture, like a prelude, festival opener.
It
So,
is. It's a sort of a 4 or 5 minute selection.
Yeah.
I used it at a music camp. It was a Scottish, North Scotland music camp. We
Yeah,
played it
yeah,
in
yeah.
2003, or
Yeah, yeah,
I can't remember, possibly after that. Hey, a few more comments, Dean. Emily Croucher says hi to you both. Hi, Emily. Glad you're watching.
Hi, Emily.
And, Paul Doswell,
Hey,
who's
Paul.
called Paul Victor Doswell.
He is.
Nice middle name. That's the name of my granddad, Paul. Nice
Yeah.
jacket, Dean, he says.
Yes, I thought he would spot that one. Yes.
Tell us about the jacket.
North York Temple jacket. It's reached that point of the year I start digging this out again. It's a nice one to wear in this sort of cooler evenings, as it were.
That's right. Is it from their tour?
Yeah. So Paul has one as well, because he was very kindly did a huge amount of big journey of driving right from up in the northeast right down to Exeter to help the group with getting instruments down.
Okay.
It was a massive one.
Yeah.
And so that he got all kitted out as well. And
nice.
It's a very comfy jacket as well. This is the first time this year I think I've worn it. Well, since the summer,
They were a very good band, weren't they? What year was that they came over?
Oh, Paul will put me right on the message, but I'm pretty sure it was 2013 that we organised the tour to come here.
Yeah.
And then you and I were salesmen, weren't we? Do you remember? At Llandaff Cathedral.
Were we?
Yeah. We'd inherited some handwritten Len Ballantine scores.
Oh yeah, I remember. That was in what we went to Llandaff Cathedral. Yeah, in Wales. And was that their first gig of the tour? And it was with Corey?
No. Llandaff was towards. I thought it was towards the end.
Oh well, could be.
Yeah, it was.
You're right. So we had to auction some scores. Is that right?
Yeah, we did it, and at the last minute, we managed to get.
That was a great night. Great. I remember Marcus conducting the massed bands with one of his pieces as well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Luke Parkhill has a question for you, Dean. What was your first published piece? Thanks, Luke, for that question.
It's a very close call between a songster song called We'll Praise Jesus and Faithful God in the Triumph series. I think We'll Praise Jesus was first. I think very close between the two. It's 2002. Okay. So you probably know, Luke, that everything that gets written, sometimes has to have a little bit of a shelf life before it gets published. So, but those two things came fairly quick. So that was good, and that was appreciated, and lots of encouragement from Andrew Blythe along the way, which I'm still grateful for. Yeah,
good. We might get to talk about that, Dean. People that have encouraged us along the way. Just to do a couple more comments, and then because I'm still introducing, I think I'll be introducing you till 5 to 9, and then we'll have time for one question from me. Morvin asks, who's your favourite living Salvation Army composer? Living Salvation Army composer. You're not allowed to say me or you.
Oh, Martin, that is a shame.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone that knows me knows I can't. I'm useless at favourites. I can't do it. But I will tonight. I will say then, and it'll probably change tomorrow. I'll go for William Himes.
Good old Bill.
And it'll probably change to Len Ballantine tomorrow and Ken Downey on Wednesday.
Yeah, okay. And as far as we know, they're all still living.
Well, I do hope so. God bless them. Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Morgan.
Yeah, thanks.
One more question from Scott Dunn. Hi, Scott. As an acting bandmaster at Parkhead, I'm right now struggling for self-motivation to practice, as I'm also the euphonium player. Any tips or hints to keep me motivated? Because you're a youth player, Dean, apparently.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott. Oh, that's kind of you to frame that one for me in that way. I think, to be honest, you just for me, hooking back into listening to band music again for a few weeks in the lockdown time, and I've written 3 pieces during lockdown. But there was a point where I was listening to Army band music with my headphones on while I was cooking. I mean, that was how crazy it got. I was literally kind of pouring it into my very being, Yeah. Whereas I'll be honest with you, because I've been immersed with Salvation Army music for 18 plus years, because obviously I was like the biggest anorak enthusiast in the world before I actually joined the department. You know, apart from you, Martin, I know you would be you know, up there, but I actually hadn't really listened to very much. You know, when I was getting in the car to do a long journey, army band music was not really what I was listening to, or songster music. So actually, that in itself was a really inspiring thing to do. And actually, if you're a visual person, get connected with videos as well. Look online, watch some of the, you know, there's been a lot of Corey have done a lot of online stuff this last few weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
And they've really gone to town with it, you know, done the whole shebang with best soloists and all that kind of thing as well. And I think for the fourth section, Euphonium Player won that. Get onto that, Scott. Get whatever you can. Just get motivated by listening and watching others. And remember that everything that we do as musicians, you know, we're doing it for the Lord. And actually, when it comes to it, you know, I'm almost dreading that first rehearsal. I mean, can you imagine it? There was a point where we couldn't all have our hair cut, wasn't there? Do you remember?
Yes,
And
right.
I was thinking that we're all going to be there, even the bald ones, you know, with hair down here, and us sounding useless. But we just got to. It's going to be a bit piece by piece, to be honest, putting it all back together in those first rehearsals. So just keep the nuts and bolts of get the arbon out, do the simple stuff before you tackle the big stuff. Yeah, just keep it going. Keep the whatever
and
you can
also,
do.
Scott, probably worth saying as well, you're not the only one. You know, there's a whole band community out there. So do what you can, and I think that's good advice from Dean to get listening and get inspired that way. Right then, Dean. So I counted up online. You've got 59 brass works and 26 vocal works. I am being generous and including the hymn tunes because I include those in my numbers as well.
Oh, the scripture based.
And people will probably know you from pieces such as LS Senor. That was a great hit. Also Supremacy, which was a Judd Street Collection piece, I think. And our band have really enjoyed using Written in Red, your arrangement of that song. It's such a lovely song. Did you hear that sung by the Staff Songsters? Was that your inspiration for that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. There are songs that, for me, you can't help but be inspired by certain things, and that song, I reckon it was probably 10, 12 years ago. That was one of the songs of the moment. You know, there are those songs that kind of come around, and it was one of those, and it was just so, it was one of those that just grabbed you emotionally, spiritually. And I thought, actually, I think I can do something here for band, because there's always that slight fear of like, what if it doesn't kind of translate well for band? What if it isn't as powerful? You know, but thankfully people have been very kind about it, which is great. I guess I don't know about you, Martin, but there's some pieces where you kind of write fairly within yourself emotionally, and there are other pieces where you put maybe that extra 10-15% worth into. And I think with Written in Red, it was one of those where it was that extra 10-15% emotionally, spiritually, that actually went in to some of those textures that I tried to create. But I stayed pretty faithful to the harmonies of the song, but tried to just do something band-wise to make it work. But I'm glad that's
well, it's been popular with us because obviously it's a great Easter piece. And so I think we've used it on Good Friday a couple of times, and so thanks from us at Cambridge. Thanks for that arrangement. And you've also had several works published outside of the army as well, Dean. Am I right in saying, I didn't check this up, so forgive me, but I'm sure you won a prize or you did a test piece. It must have been a test piece. That's what it was. Tell us about the test piece and how that came to fruition.
Yeah, sure. It was in collaboration with a publisher in Holland called Lake Music. And basically they were looking to self-promote a fourth section test piece. And I'd only really dabbled in test piece writing under those kind of circumstances, really, publishers that were interested in kind of putting their toe in the water and or bidding, as it were, getting their music on the table of the panel to then decide. And I think I'd done 2 others, one for Lake, one for another company. And so this is the first time I'd done certainly second. I'd done a 4th section, and I was so the whole thing was really just about trying to pitch it correctly for the right kind of level of difficulty. That was obviously the first thing you're thinking of, and what does that mean? Because sometimes I've written things, I'm not a great player, but there are things that I feel have been fairly straightforward, but have confused people, maybe overly syncopated in my early years. But then, so this was actually a really good way of trying to sort of, if you like, write to a marker.
Yes.
And thankfully, it came up good. I just wrote it, sent it to the publisher, and then all of a sudden, a few months later, he phoned me up, absolutely ecstatic. He was like over the moon. I didn't really understand what was going on, but because it's 4th section, you see, that's the biggest volume of sales. So because it's the most the biggest amount of bands are in the 4th section across the country. So he was a happy man. So that's how it came about.
Well, what year was that, Dean?
Oh, I want to say 2014. I don't know.
Okay.
It was about 2 or 3 years before we went into Fit for Mission. I know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't. Yeah, about that.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, that's something that I've not really. I have actually written a test piece, excuse me, for a Christian brass band contest in Switzerland.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Do you know the one?
Yeah, I do.
And what happens is really interesting is, but all the bands see the test piece for the first time on the day, and they all get 1 hour to rehearse.
Right.
So I wrote a test piece for that one time. But as Salvationists, it's something that it's not commonly get involved with.
No.
And I do think it's always nice to bridge the gap. There's a great opportunities there, isn't there, for us to, not just with the gospel, but also to build friendships and relationships, and to realize that we're all on the same side, and we're all trying to do the same thing.
That was certainly the case with that, because people were good enough to, and I was lucky that Ken Downey and I, Ken's been amazing to me. It's like having an extra dad, he's awesome, as you know. He's just such an encourager. But him and I would go out for lunch most Wednesdays, and we would talk all manner of things, including this kind of stuff. And he said to me, look, they'll ask you to do rehearsals, so just be ready for that. And I was, and it was nice. So I did about 6 rehearsals, most of them local. First I went was Wales. But other than that, it was all kind of within 20, 30 mile radius of here. But every time I thought, what can I say that's going to be helpful, but won't be necessarily too overt, So I just, my statement were that I was able to talk about the music and then say, I believe as a Christian that music is a gift from God. And I just want to thank you all for what you're doing to energize and kind of communicate music with your local communities. So that was my, if you like, my little kind of my little moment, as it were. But no, that you're right, it was a great opportunity, and I'm like you say, building connections, friendships, and so on. It's good.
That's right. Thank goodness we live in an age where we can tear down walls rather than build them. Anyway, let's not go down that road, but I'm glad you had that opportunity, Dean. Let's get to a few more comments. Dave Elliott says, don't mention football, Martin. Okay, Dave. Yeah, fair enough.
Seriously, don't. All I can say, though, to Dave is that I have got Richarlison. No, not Richarlison. I have got, who's the new guy? Rodriguez. I've got Rodriguez, and I've got Calvert-Lewin, who I've had from the start in my fantasy league team. So I just want to put that out there to Dave and all other Everton fans. As a very hurting Liverpool fan. Is Dave
involved with your fantasy league as well?
Oh, probably. He's involved in most things that I do.
I did fantasy football a long time ago, and I just took it too seriously. And really,
You can do.
I can suck all the enjoyment out of anything, given half the chance. Morvin said about Salvation Brass, they all have a praise party. Yeah, Praise Party was one of the signature tunes at one time, wasn't it?
There is. I've tried to
Is
take
it?
it off the program,
Right.
but people actually they love it so much that we have to keep doing it.
I
So
think a few band members have welded it onto the program. You're not going to get that one off.
exactly, that's
Um,
been the thing. Yeah, yeah.
and Paul said something like he didn't get a jacket. I think I saw him say that. Sorry
You
about
didn't,
that, Paul.
You didn't.
And it was 2013, the tour.
Yeah.
If you're
Got that
watching
right.
and you're from North York Temple Band, Paul would really love a jacket. We're going to just put that out there.
One of these ones, black one. Nice.
And who else have we got here? Thomas Quick. Hi,
yeah.
Thomas. Greetings. Enjoying the chat. Tom Quick, Kitchener, Ontario. Great to have you watching,
hi, Tom.
Thomas. Thomas has been on a few of these, so I'm really grateful for that, Thomas. Thank you. Tim Pascoe as well. He's over in the States in Detroit. He sends his greetings.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Tim. Glad you've tuned in. Now, Eve Atwell. There's a lovely lady from Staines.
There is.
Now, we're going to talk about Staines Corner second, because that's where I think we first met each other.
Yes.
Eve says, hi to you both from Eve and Keith Atwell, Staines. Kiss, kiss, kiss.
Oh, lovely.
Now, hold on a second. There's
I'll have
3
two.
kisses,
You can
and
have
there's only
one.
2 of us.
I'll have 2 because I know.
You'll have 2. Okay, fair enough. Okay, that's fine.
I was best man
you
at her son's wedding, so you know.
Okay, you deserve the extra kiss. That's great. And Dave Elliott says, Dean, you love playing, conducting, and writing. If you could only choose one, which would it be? Playing, conducting, or writing? Oh, that's a tough one. Thanks for the question, Dave.
That's a good question, Dave. That is a good one. I'm inclined to say playing, actually, and I'm probably a better composer than I am a player. I don't know. Am I right to say that? I don't know. I'm not that great a player. I'm all right, but no, there's something about playing I really do love. I love all 3. I mean, it would be like literally kind of, sort of very even split, like, 34, 32, and whatever else the other one would be. It would be very, very, very even.
The thing is, though, Dean, playing is our first love, though, isn't it? Because we all started at the age of 6 or 7.
Yeah.
When someone put a cornet in our hands.
Yep.
I guess
Deep Harmony.
I get what you're saying there. Deep Harmony at Duke Street was my.
Those 2. Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what second cornet was, but I was on second cornet, and I just thought it meant.
The instrument. Did you think it meant the instrument?
I think it did, yeah. Does it mean
yeah.
it's been used by somebody? And that's why it's the second cornet.
I thought it was like, I thought it was the instrument was a second cornet. Right. But then I looked at it and I thought it probably was.
Yeah, and you know what? All these years later, we still don't know the difference, do we? Let's be honest.
Not really, no.
Okay, and Estelle Blake
Estelle, what a lovely lady.
A message as well.
There's a lady. I'll
just read Estelle in a second. Before I read Estelle, Scott says thanks for the answer for that. A pleasure,
no worries, Scott.
So Estelle says, Dean, you are the most humble man. I'm such a cheerleader of you and your gift. Respect, mate.
Oh, Estelle, this is the most remarkable lady in the Salvation Army. I remember sat there with some friends who were cadets at the time at college, and I'd just come from the Albert Hall, on one of those Christmas nights, everything's kind of epic and great and wonderful. Estelle was out, and I know this because I'm talking with the friends I was with. She was out serving the army where it needed to be at King's Cross Station, with young girls there trying to help them out.
Yeah.
And there I was, rubbing shoulders with all the big wigs and all that, and actually she was doing the real stuff. And that I love about her. Estelle was someone that, Estelle, sounds like it's your funeral, do you know what I mean? Like,
well, sometimes it's better if we say it when they're alive.
Let's say it now. Carry
on.
No, but she was one of the people that helped me develop my faith at a crucial time of my life. And I virtually lived at her house one summer, along with several others.
Yeah.
And just brilliant.
Great.
What a lady.
Great.
What a lady.
Yeah, what a lady. Thanks for tuning in, Estelle, and thanks for your authentic ministry. Let's call it that. I appreciate that. So Dean, let's just take a brief trip down memory lane, because we were trying to remember before we went on there where we first met, and we think it was at Staines Corps, because you soldiered at Staines at one time, and it was when Leanne and I were cadets, and we were appointed to Staines for a preaching placement. So I think it's Christmas to the year 2000, so coming
Yep.
up on
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yep.
And I remember it was Christmas because we asked you to be a shepherd in the carol service.
I'm usually pigeonholed as a shepherd.
You
Don't know
didn't
what
have
it
to
is.
play a euphonium, but you had to hold
Good
a
job.
shepherd's crook or a
Good job.
lamb.
Especially as a pressure cooker situation at Staines to do that
I'm
as
sure,
well.
yeah. Do you remember that though? And
No.
when we were at Staines on this
Brooklyn.
placement, we had to pick a couple of people who would feed back to us, right?
Oh yeah.
And I don't know whether we picked them or they were chosen for us, but we had, God bless her soul, Muriel Yendel.
Oh
Who,
wow.
She would
giving it a headmistress stuff.
Yeah, she's got that headmistress there, and she would tell you exactly what you didn't want to hear, but tell you 100% the truth. And it was the most helpful feedback I've ever received. And
there's another remarkable lady in a very different way.
Yeah. And we so enjoyed meeting with her. She used to make us laugh, but she was so encouraging to us as young cadets as we were. So so that's where we met then, Dean. Then after that, or soon after that, you started working in the department, as we said a few minutes ago. You said it was in September of 2001, right? So, and we've kind of bumped into each other over the years. I've just written some things down, like with Salvation Brass, for example. We've shared the platform there. We've done Composers Days here in the UK as well. Not we haven't done them, but we've been at them. And we've been either collaborating, or we've either been learning or we've been teaching at those. And sometimes I'm sure we've sat in the ISB rehearsal room where one of us has had our piece interrogated by the band and has had our head in our hands, and the other one putting an arm around
nursing each other.
So I think we used to meet sometimes on Wednesday nights. If I were whatever appointment I was at, I would come down to staff band sometimes, and you'd be there, and that was good to catch up. I remember you working on a fantastically innovative, but dare I say complex piece called Vista at one stage. And do you remember? Well, you won't forget the piece, but you let me listen to it all the way through with the headphones on. That was really thrilling. So did that piece see the light of day, or did you put it in a drawer?
Bit of both.
Okay.
Vista, similar story to Lord of All. Both played at TYB, which was great. But then kind of went a bit quiet after that. But both were used by other bands away from home, you know. So so Vista actually was adopted really in the end by North York. They recorded it and used it on the tour when they came over, which was very kind of them. They also played it when Salvation Brass went to Canada. That was a total surprise, because it wasn't on the concert program. They'd written another piece. So it was a whole surprise. So
right.
Yeah. I mean, Vista was very much a TYB piece. It was a lot of spark, a lot of energy, a lot of a lot of rhythm. The last of what I would call, like in my head, like trilogy of pieces with Glorifico, Lord of All, and Vista. Those were the three. Supremacy was slightly different; it was shorter, but those three are quite similar. And now I've tried to. So I've written a new large-scale work, which I think is quite different for many of those. Although people will still find little nuances that will say, "Oh, you know, that's his."
Yeah, well, I can imagine North York would have really enjoyed getting their teeth into that, because, as you say, it was high octane, really, wasn't it? And what my memory of it is the different time signatures. You must have had 13/8, 10/8, and 7/8. And
there's a lot.
A band like North York just really enjoys that kind of a challenge. So I'm glad it got an airing. That's good.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. That was really nice, because you have. I don't know about you, but I've reached a point, and other composers that may be listening, I've reached a point now, I don't know if you would vouch for this as well, where I no longer really, I don't really mind what goes on with the music anymore. It doesn't really worry me. My chief concern is, am I doing the right thing by me in serving the Lord with the little mustard seed of gift he's given, am I doing it? Am I doing him a disservice or not by doing this? And so I'm trying to do the best I can with what I have. And if others want to sort of join with me on that musical journey, as it were, and they get something from it, great. If they don't, then that's okay, because I've tried to honor the Lord with my gift. I don't know, does that sort of resonate with you and where you're?
It definitely does, yeah, because but people are always surprised when I say my list of priorities, music is about number 4 or 5, because first and foremost, I'm a Christian, so I'm a child of God, and my first love is my Heavenly Father, right? So then next, it's my wife and my family, and my close friends, and then really after that, I then have to come to music because I love music, and it's brought me so many fantastic opportunities. Or let me rephrase it: God has brought me so many fantastic opportunities through music, which at the end of the day is just a tool. But I do feel sometimes people can make the tool, can make what should be an end to a means to an end. They make the end itself, don't they? So music is not really like that for me. I so appreciate the encouragement of people like Steve Cobb over the years, who has asked me to write for the staff band. And I've got a piece which just before lockdown was on their stands, and I think it's still on the stands. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get to hear it in the flesh one day. But sometimes you can get overtaken by all of that, and you feel that that's what it's all about. But really, for me, and I feel like I'm giving you a bit of a testimony here, which should be an interview with you. But what I'm trying to say is, faith comes first. So let's leave it at that.
No, it's good.
A few more comments then, Dean. Luke Parkhill, what was the test piece called? Luke said.
Yeah, it was called An English Pastoral.
Okay.
So I set it to 4 different movements and tried to depict the seasons in different areas. Tried to make it quite visual.
Okay, so Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, the full section, yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
English Pastoral then, Luke, you can look that one up. Valerie Garrell. Hi, Valerie. A question for you both. Are you currently working on any compositions? And if so, can you allow a section for the tenor horn to shine?
Oh, always.
Wonder what instrument you play, Valerie. Tenor horn, it can be quite a versatile instrument, can't it? Sometimes it's a job to dig it sound out of the score, don't you think, Dean? Very easily overshadowed if we're not careful when we write.
It's a tricky one because the last thing that a lot of the solo horns want is to be doubled with a flugel as well. It's almost like a political game there. They're like, I just want to be on my own, Or they're happy to maybe be with their colleagues to their left, but not so much, the dude over on the back row or the lady.
Sorry. His help.
And actually it rubs with intonation a little bit. And anyway, you're right. Horns are interesting. I mean, I use the middle of the band a lot. You see, I like the middle of the band in 3 parts. That's one of my things I try and do a lot. So unfortunately, I have doubled quite a lot, but I do like the horns to be in 3-part harmony where I can.
Yeah. And Kevin Norbury was the one who told me that they're a good blend with the trombone section, who also can play in the same 3 parts as well. Especially when the trombones get high, adding in the tenor horns can support and help there. But something I've started doing more recently, Valerie and Dean as well, is to write for the tenor horn section in unison and to consider them a voice on their own. And I think the 3 together, if they're 3 players who we used to say about Sue Betts in the staff band had her Weetabix that morning, it can make quite a strong sound. So that's something that I've started to do more and more. What are you currently composing there, Valerie? Do you want to answer that, Dean?
Yeah, I'm just imagining Sue with her Weetabix. But anyway.
Yeah, 3 Weetabix I think she used to have.
Is that right? No, there we go. What am I working? Okay. So as I said earlier, I wanted to do something. Well, I suddenly had this kind of load of time on my hands. Now, don't get me wrong. My wife has a little, kind of list, of things that need to be done, and I get that, and I do everything I can. But she's very good at being very gracious at letting me, kind of have my moment of freedom, as it were. And so, and I'm one of these people that if I'm into something, I am into it. I am absolutely 100% hooked into it. So it's very difficult for me to sort of just then go, all right, I'll leave that there and I will do this and I will do that. And so I was very set that this new amount of times I suddenly had in this furlough period was going to be of value to me in my kind of creative output, in my learning. And I really wanted to write some new music. So I think I've just, actually I did 2 little pieces last week. So they're for a publisher, and they're for kind of kids groups or flexible kind of quartets or groups of 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But in terms of Salvation Army output, where obviously my heart is really set, I was quite keen to get early on to do something. So, but I hadn't written anything for a while. So what I did was I got my tune book out my laptop case, had a little look through, and I found which tune was it? I'm not prepared enough for this question, but basically I found it was I Know I Found. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
I thought, wow, what a beautiful tune. So I thought, as an exercise, I'll just do a 4-part harmony of that. And it's difficult to get certain sounds out your head, as you'll appreciate. So when you think of that piece, you think of the Tom Rive settings that we know and love. You think of some of the other vocal settings as well. Anyway, cut long story short, I wrote, did that. I did 2 Unity series pieces, was it 1 or 2 anyway? And then suddenly I turned back to something I'd started 4 years ago, major work, which was done. Spiritus Day, the Spirit of God.
In titles again, Dean.
I know.
I've been telling you about this over the years.
I know. People tell me off. Andrew Mackriff hates it. Don't you, Mr. Mackriff? I know he'll be tuning in. No, look, I mean, it's just a little part of me, and that's it. And
I'm only joking, really. I mean,
no, it's fine.
So
it just says it a bit better, doesn't it?
Sorry,
Spirit of God.
Because
if you say, for instance, right, I called it Spirit of God, everyone would be thinking of like the lovely David Catherwood song.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I'm like, actually, this could be better. So the other one that was going around in my head was the there was another Latin title as well. What's the Missio Deo?
Oh yeah, Missio Dei.
Yeah, Missio Dei. Sorry.
Yeah. The missional God.
Mission of God. Now with the job I've got and everything that we've been through this last few years, and now especially, that's been really playing on my. So there's the challenge for all composers out there. That's a good title that needs writing.
Yeah, I first came across that title in college, actually. Phil Garnham, one of our teachers, used to talk about God is the Missio Dei, the missional God.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you a quick song about that song I Know I Found. It's from Lewisham Salvation Army. That's where it comes from. We know that because we were the CEOs there. Oliver Cook, soldier at Lewisham. Yeah. And apparently he wrote that song sitting on the top deck of the bus going home one day. And that's where it came from. And it's such a powerful song and so popular and loved, isn't it? But that's where it came from, a bus journey anyway. Hey, a few more questions. We've not got to any of my questions, Dean, so we might need to do a part 2 in, say, 5 or 6 years.
It's fine. And, if we're still here, I might still be sat here.
Well, you'll still be in that hotel.
Waiting for a drink.
Yeah. So Ian Sturgeon has got a question. Ian, we both know. Ian, he's a bandmaster at DIS, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Glad you're tuning in, Ian. If you could place your name as composer at the top of any piece of music, Salvation Army or non-Salvation Army, what would it be?
Alive. Any piece of music ever written in the world, ever. Flipping heck. I don't know.
I wouldn't mind to have been the guy that wrote the Pines of Rome suite, symphonic suite. That was Respighi, of course. That's just one of my all-time favourites. What about you, Dean?
I don't know. I think if I'm to answer this question half seriously, because obviously it's such a vast topic that you could spend so long looking at it.
Yes.
I think the music would have to encapsulate some of my personality, my way of thinking, my way of writing. So, for instance, I love Debussy's music, right? But Dean Jones isn't really Debussy, So although I'd love to be, and I try. The closest we have to Debussy in the army is Ken. He's the closest we got. So that would be great, but I don't really see that it's quite me. Although I do try and write some nice
Let me
harmonies.
try and pin you down. Which Debussy piece?
Oh, I love, my favorite is, two really. I'll go for this one today. The Claire de Lune orchestral version. It's actually in
Yeah.
at the end of Ocean's 11,
Yeah.
the remake one. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Witold Stokowski was the guy that did the transcription.
Right. It's incredible. He's done it beautifully. Le Prelude de Midi de Faune. I can never say it right. The lovely French. The Fawn in the Afternoon.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful music.
Yeah,
That is. I'm a big Debussy fan. I know for some people it's a little bit quirky, a little bit out there. Hey, he's amazing. So if I interpret the question as who's my favorite, sort of composers, that might be better. So classical is Debussy for me, and then Army. Oh man, I don't know. It's between Heaton and RSA really. In terms of. So wouldn't you love to have been the guy that wrote Toccata, like Johnny? That was written in 1939.
I know.
You know that?
Well, I didn't know it was 1939, but I knew it was sort of pre-war.
And that was the reason
and
it didn't.
Brass sextet, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the reason it didn't, I'm assuming, it didn't. It was supposed to be for a group of staff bandsmen that were going to America on a tour to play. Right. That was the piece. That was like the piece that went with them. And I assume the outbreak of war meant they couldn't actually use it. They never got it. Yeah. And then the staff band apparently looked at it. It was too hard.
Right.
That's what the staff band reaction was. It's too difficult.
Yeah.
It then sat on a shelf, as you and I will know about music sitting on shelves, and Mr. Macriff as well. It sat on the shelf for about 30, 40 years until Bernard Adams found it. Anyway, that would be my choice of Army.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there'll be many disagree with you. We all want to be Wilf Heaton, that's true. And not one of us has succeeded, not yet anyway.
Not yet.
So Adrian Croucher, hi Adrian.
Hi Adrian.
Is there a venue where you would love the band to play? All right, okay, well, you can't beat the Royal Albert Hall for me, but I can't confess to have been to too many concert venues around the world. What about you, Dean?
The band as in Salvation Brass, I take it, or a band.
But I think if we just think in terms of if you could hear your music somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean the Albert Hall's been a privilege for you and I guess, Martin, a few times, and that's amazing, really. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I played at 10 Downing Street, with a little group, and that was amazing. Yeah. So. You and I would have been stood watching ISB 120 in the grounds of Buckingham Palace, amazing. So, no, anywhere's a privilege, and I really mean it as well. Anywhere's a privilege to have your music player, the opportunity. I've stood in some pretty cold, lonely open airs at times, but actually, those are privileges. Those are still privileges. But yeah, I mean, look, getting the opportunity to sort of do your thing, as it were. I hand on heart, the best thing I've ever been involved in, best musical night with Salvation Brass for sure, was the Saturday night at Norfolk Temple. Absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, you did an Easter tour, didn't you?
Because you wrote The Garden for us, which has obviously now been recorded and published, and we're very proud of that. And we played that twice on tour, including Good Friday. Yeah. Amazing. And so that Saturday night, and that for me, that was a touch of heaven that night. It really was. It was just, there's something about it. It was just wonderful. So to be honest with you, Adrian, I don't mind. Anywhere you'll have us.
Okay. As long as the kettle's on, eh?
And the hall cleaner's in good mood.
Yeah, and the hall cleaner's in good mood. Michael Fletcher, hi Dean and Martin. Mike Fletcher from Palmerston North, New Zealand, tuning in. Absolutely loving this chat, very inspiring. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Luke said, I love the cornet solo in that. I can't remember what piece that would be now, but
maybe he's meaning written in red. Might be the verse.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Thanks for that, Luke. Jonathan Searle, hello, Jonathan.
Johnny.
The world is a duller place when you're not around, Jonathan, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Loving this chat, Martin. Dean, such an encouraging, great mate. Still so thankful to Dean for transcribing our wedding entrance music from an orchestral score. All right, was that a bit of Debussy?
No, that was Coldplay, believe it or not.
Oh, right, okay.
It was Yellow.
Okay.
If I've got it right. There was 2 Coldplay ones I did. Yes.
Okay.
His
Yeah,
was
great.
Yeah, his was Yellow.
Jonathan's part of the Salvation Brass.
He has, but he still is part of our family. Yeah, Johnny's just such a world celebrity now that we've had to let him fly, you know.
Okay.
But I remember meeting a young Jonathan Searle, sat at the back row, second corner of the Southwest Youth Band. This would have been in 2005, yeah. And we've been great friends ever since. And I've seen him from being a boy to a man, and what a guy he is. Yeah,
he is one of a kind. They broke the mold when they made Jonathan. Thanks for that question, Jonathan. Craig Buchan also just left a comment. Love Dean. I've always been encouraged by his enthusiasm and love for God. So there's a bit of encouragement for you, Dean.
He's a good boy.
And Valerie Garrell said, very versatile indeed. Oh, I don't know if you're talking about my
Horns.
Horns. That was it. I wasn't sure if it was my flexibility, you know, as a person.
Oh, as a presenter.
Or no. I was thinking about my, you know, why I haven't made the British Olympic team for acrobatics or something, but not that kind of versatility. Okay.
I haven't heard your cornet player, Martin.
And Pete Wilkes, this is our last comment tonight. Love the commentary on Ken Downey, Salvationist Impressionist. There you go. Yeah,
Salvationist Impressionist, a very good one. So that's another little thing for you, Martin, right? I've been thinking this. So if you think, would you agree with me, right? If you were to look at Salvation Army composers, I've taken over your interview, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you think of it, would you agree, like, that if you look at army composers, you might say Goffin was like the Bach?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And with RSA, he's like the Mozart, like could do it all, output, rapid volume, you know, in terms of churning and works.
Yeah.
Even the Stravinsky.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
There's a few, isn't there? When you actually think of it, you know, you can actually sort of see that pattern. Now, if you were to say to these guys, were you in any way inspired by those? I probably would say no. But it's just, for me, I think there's.
Yeah, well, I'll add one in for you, that Eric Ball was our Tchaikovsky, because Tchaikovsky for me, well, he held in the whole Romantic era, didn't he? I think Eric, well, you have two phases of Eric. There was Eric before he had a time away from the army, and then he had a time when he came back, and and you can see the like night and day to me. But in the second incarnation, his Romantic period, I would say we got things like Song of Courage, which is
amazing,
just beautiful. It's if you went to the cinema and watched the movie, that's what you would hear. It's that kind of scale, isn't it, and that kind of breadth.
Kingdom Triumphant as well, very thematic.
Yeah. So I'll just add that one to your list, Dean. So I've now reclaimed the interview back now. Is that okay?
You can have your interview back.
Thank you. Right then, Dean, let me just go to a couple of things that I wanted to just tease out from you.
Just a
tell us just in just like 60 seconds, as long as you've got, really, but how did you get into the Salvation Army? Because not many people might know that. And then how did you get into composing? So 2 questions in one.
Both similar, really. Family, born into Salvation Army family home. My parents at that time were Salvation Army officers. 3 of my 4 grandparents had been Salvation Army officers.
All right.
Retired on my dad's side, and on my mum's side, my grandma was forced to resign because she fell in love with my granddad. How about that for a romantic story?
Lovely story.
There we go. She had to resign, and there we are. So and likewise, as mentioned earlier, Dad is a fellow composer in the Salvation Army, and so my early days, I remember kind of sitting in the quarters at Marlow, looking and listening to him at the piano, kind of going through ideas for songs or for band pieces and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where it came, and then it kind of grasped hold of me more at secondary school then, in terms of my own ideas of trying to write music and
Yeah.
trying to then develop that through music education and GCSE time and A level and so on. So yeah, and it's been family influenced and just something I've grown with and grown into, and
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
escape. Do you know what I mean? Can't
Yeah.
escape it.
And sometimes that's a good thing. So and just one final question then, Dean. Um, what will I ask you? Yeah, about your compositional process. I think there might be
Oh yeah,
somebody watching who is dabbling in composing or trying to get
yeah.
into it in some way. What are the lessons that you've learned along the way that you would
Oh
give out
gosh,
for
I'm
free
still
tonight?
learning. I'm still learning.
Yeah,
And if
that's true. We all are. But
yeah,
what
if
are those?
RSA was sat here, he'd say the same.
Yeah, yeah, you would.
He would, wouldn't he? So I think the things I've learned is to whatever your system is, make sure that your harmony is absolutely solid. The way I often have done that, I've tried to try to enforce that, is by trying to write as much on one line as possible, and hearing that one line of even just 4 part harmony flowing through, then making it vertical from there, and not trying to run away too soon. Because if you try and invent harmony parts straight in independently without a piano, or without crafting the whole thing carefully, SATB simultaneously, it's never going to work. You can't do it. You can't write an alto part and then a tenor part. Well, you can if you're
RSA.
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, we could try, but it wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's never going to be as good. So discipline yourself with that, and get 4 part harmony running beautifully from beginning to end. Don't be afraid of unison. Don't be afraid of rests. It's very important. Leave dynamics till the end, even though they're the bandmaster's favorite things. Actually, to you and I, do you do your dynamics last, Martin? I do. They're a pain in the butt.
I probably do it as I go along, really.
Do you?
But I mean, it is a pet hate of mine as well. How much they're disregarded, frankly. But
You're too loud. I'm like, I just want to hear the second horns. Do you know what I mean? I want to hear the whole balanced chord. I don't care if it's too loud. I don't care if it's forte, piano, or what. I just want to hear a balanced chord with the right notes in tune.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't mind hearing a brass band play a pianissimo sometimes.
I agree with that. Don't get me wrong.
It's the hardest dynamic to play. Let's be honest.
When a band reaches a point where they've got a piece of music right, they understand their part, they understand where they fit, they understand the construction, and they're getting the notes right, to put it bluntly, then that's the time to start, kind of, don't get me wrong, it depends what level the band is at. Would you agree? So if your band is running 95% of the notes correct, then straight away get some tips in there, like, right, come on, guys, we can make this. But yeah, there's nothing more exciting than hearing a band play at pianissimo. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I think I've heard it probably twice live. Probably in October at the Nationals, you hear a pianissimo. But I can remember it would have been Dyke. They did a concert with the ISB last year. I think it was a Heaton.
Oh yeah.
Concert.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I can't remember the piece. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a gorgeous moment. And the other one, Melbourne Staff Band with Peter Graham's To Boldly Go, that middle section with the muted cornets and the basses. That's part of that's come from the writing, but when a band presents that as it's written, it makes the hairs on the back of the neck stand up, which is unbelievable for a quiet moment. Everyone thinks it's the loud band crash wallop stuff that makes the hairs stand on the back of their, but the quiet stuff can be even more powerful, I would suggest.
Yeah. Less than that, I think, for sure. Thinking then about techniques, just getting 4-part harmony right, making sure that your music sounds right. Once you get something, if it's a band piece we're talking about, try and get it scored Once you've got it scored, then also just then highlight different sections of the band. On Sibelius, you can do this, can't you? You can basically use the shift key or something, highlight different things. So if you want to hear
Just to listen to them.
Yeah, just listen to those parts. Listen to it without percussion, for goodness sake, as well. These are all things that are so important.
Yes.
And understanding instruments range, and understanding that when an instrument goes high, it's going to be really heard. If it's got a really high euphonium part, that's going to dominate. And sometimes we don't want to, believe it or not, as show-off euphonium players, we don't actually like it because there's a lot of pressure on that.
Sure.
But yeah, no, loads of things, Brian. I could keep you here all night. I'm sure you could as well. What are yours? What's yours?
Look, we're going to have to wrap up in a minute. I just always say to people, just listen. Just spend your time listening, and it comes through a bit too much in my music. That's my biggest criticism, probably. But the influences of people like John Williams and Bruce Broughton and Alan Silvestri and the film composers are what I listen to, and it just floats my boat. But I hope that informs my composition, because I get ideas, and I just love always trying to work out the key and what the last note might be and what instrument might be playing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just having ears is really important when you're a composer as well as a pen.
And very quickly, I'm so glad you mentioned Bruce Brown. What a man, firstly. But what a creative guy. If anyone out there hasn't heard Bruce's music, please get onto Music Index or whatever and find those YouTube links. His stuff is out of this world. Really is. He's close up with Heaton in some ways for me.
Very inventive, definitely.
Oh, hugely.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That's all right. Well, everybody, we've come to the end of our live chat today. It's been a blast, Dean, having a chat with you
It's been
today.
fun.
Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. Everybody, I just want to tell you all that I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, actually with a mutual friend of Dean and mine, Major Darren Shaw.
Oh, yeah.
And
great.
Darren's somebody who's collaborated with Dean. And he wrote Guardian of My Soul. Was that for Salvation Brass, dare I ask?
No, I was the very first person to ever hear it. Darren just sent it to me.
And I think Salvation Brass played it. Yeah,
we did.
Used it, definitely. So in 2 weeks' time, on Sunday the 18th of October, I'm looking forward to talking with Darren, who is the corps officer at Scunthorpe Salvation Army, with his lovely wife Lynn. So I'll be speaking to him in 2 weeks' time.
Folks, tune in.
But for tonight, thank you very much to Dean Jones, who it's already been said a few times, is a humble guy and a man of God. And Dean, we want to thank you for your contributions to our movement in the Salvation Army through music, and more importantly, with your faith. So give our love and your love actually to Emma.
Give my love to Emma.
And your two boys. And
thank you.
And we'll look forward to catching up with you soon. But anything you want to say to all the viewers, Dean, before we go?
I just thank you for being interested. This is just two men talking about things they love. That's the bottom line, and we're no different to anyone else. Whatever you do, whoever you are, whatever way you're serving is brilliant. If you're making the tea, that's brilliant. Whatever you're doing, that's your thing. We just happen to be a little bit more in the public eye, as it were, and some that comes with a bit of baggage sometimes. So just be absolutely affirmed and assured that whatever you're doing, just do it to God's glory, because that's the best thing you can do, warts and all.
Absolutely, and I'll say amen to that. So thanks for watching, everybody. Good night and God bless. See you next time.
See ya.